Hello, welcome back to Real Opinions. Today, me and Harrison, are here to review Tomorrowland, A World Beyond.
Is that its title?
That is its full title.
I actually didn't know.
You know
that.
why it's its full title?
No.
Because apparently there was a music festival somewhere, like Germany or something. There's some festival somewhere. Because I was like, that's a really stupid title. Named after, is it part of the theme park or a theme park in itself?
It's one of the. Isn't it one of the areas like the
Adventure Island?
Yeah,
Tomorrowland.
Yeah, so I think for this one we'll kind of avoid too much of an in-depth plot thing.
Yeah, just like a vague...
Because it has been relatively kept under wraps, hasn't it?
Yeah, they give you the basic premise. Casey is a girl who's obsessed with NASA and inventing things and stuff like that. And she comes across this little pin with a T on it, which when she touches it, it takes her to this magical futuristic city. And then the pin stops being able to take her to the magical futuristic city, and she has to find out how to get to the magical futuristic city without the pin.
Yeah, then...
And she kind of encounters different people, including George Clooney.
And I think that's probably all you need to know.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things I liked about this, how little I expected.
Yeah.
Even based on... I'd seen all of the trailers quite a few times. And I was still surprised by a lot of the stuff that happened in the film, which I was very happy about.
Yeah, there were things I didn't expect, actually, yeah. No, I'll allow that. But we're going to try our best to avoid spoilers with this one.
Yeah.
Because it could be easily spoiled. I didn't love it, but I liked it more than I expected to.
I was quite hyped based on trailers. There's a trailer that shows like a whole clip in George Clooney's inventor's house. And that made me really, really excited for this.
That bit is good.
It gave me this sense that Brad Bird brings to a lot of his films, which is this kind of childish sense of whimsy and glee, and that's what this film feels like it's all about.
At first.
At first. It has this very kind of like strong... Actually, no, I'd argue most of the way through.
Most of the way through. It's the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it feels like this kind of theme park ride style.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I really liked the bit where it's like... It's one of the first sort of protracted looks at actually being in Tomorrowland. Yeah. And there's all like those swimming pools and everything. That bit's really... I really like that bit. And it's just like the way it's lit and the colours and everything. It does feel quite like... whimsical, like you said, and just
I don't think whimsical is the right word.
I know it's not the right word. What am I looking for?
I don't know. It's something along those
magical.
lines. Magical's a really good term.
It's a bit crap for a word term, but it will do. I would like to.
Just the set designs feel really kind of authentic, and even though quite a lot of the bits that take place in Tomorrowland itself feel far too CGI heavy and very washed out. Like it feels almost like Hobbit style washed out. Like when they go to Rivendell in Hobbit, it feels really like you see all these like vast like buildings and these huge mountains and stuff, and you're like, they're not real. And it feels like that with this, you feel like they are very much walking around on part sets, but a lot of these things aren't real. They don't feel textured enough. Whereas some of the sets, when they're still on Earth, like there's a sequence in what is it, like a trinket shop? Yeah. And the bit in George Clooney's house feels very textured and feels very kind of practical almost.
I didn't mind the video.
Really?
I was alright with it. Yeah. I felt like because I was at least sort of like that stuff could only be done CGI, so I'm okay with it. It's just when it's needless. Jack, when you're editing this, future Jack, put this bit in earlier. One thing that I really did like about it was that it had that like a sense of like optimism, because like we have so many kind of like, I know we just have Mad Max and I love Mad Max, but like generally the future in films is seen as quite a horrible place now, and everyone's like, there's so much dystopia now, dystopian things everywhere. Kind of
an in-joke of the film,
and it's nice just to have something where it goes, you know what, maybe the future will be swell, guys. Maybe it'll be just great.
Instead of taking it to a dystopian future world, it's a utopian future world. And it's kind of a nice parallel.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like, it's weird to say that like something nice and idealised is actually refreshing.
Angry films really piss me off as well, and this was an angry
film.
Yeah, no, like Punisher Warzone is one of the angriest films I've ever seen, and it really bothers me. Oh, Horns! Yeah. Horns was so angry.
But like generally, all the way through, it has this kind of like thing where like like in school she's learning about 1984 and stuff, and she's just like, yeah, but how can we fix things? How can we make it better? And it's like, yeah,
she's hopeful. That's what I like so much about her character. Nice. She's such a positive force.
It's just nice to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really liked that. I know it's a cliche to sort of say it's like a Spielbergian sense of wonder.
I was going to say that.
But it is. It's like
kind
a
of learns
Super
from the
80
Amblin school of.
And I know that it's like it's not
yeah.
like Spielberg has patented childlike sense of wonder, but it does feel
he
like
did
that.
It
It's
best
like,
at every.
and like even the way it's like lit at times, and the way that.
I'm glad you brought up Super 8 actually, because that was what I was thinking a lot of the way
Yeah.
through this film. It feels like in the same way that J.J. Abrams learned from Spielberg, Brad Bird has the same.
Yeah.
It has that kind of, and I think a huge part of what makes that is the lead character.
Yeah, I know. It's another thing. It's like, oh, it's a blockbuster with a kid at the center. It must be like Spielberg, and it's not, but it is.
Yeah, she doesn't necessarily always feel like a kid, but she is above and beyond my favourite thing about this film.
I like the other kid.
I haven't seen Britt Robertson in many things, but yeah, no, she's incredible in this film, and I was
she was good.
I was expecting to like her based on the trailers because I liked how kind of punchy and sassy she was in the trailers, but in this, I feel like she really does own it, and her chemistry with all the other characters is so.
I like.
I
know you have your problem with her, but I like the other kid a lot.
There's another kind of younger girl in this called Athena that. I know you like her because she's badass, and she does have quite a strong hit girl vibe.
Just like beating people up and running at walls.
And I like it when she's doing stuff like that, but her voice feels so piercing. And this is coming from someone that is English themselves. She's so English, it hurts. It's so like uppity, like 10-year-old theatre school, like enunciating every single vowel, and it's painful.
It's an odd voice, but it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Another thing, like all the way through, it's a thing that when I know he's involved, I always look for. So I'm a bit of a fanboy, but nonetheless, I'm going to mention it. Michael Giacchino did the score, and for the most part, I was like, this is fine. But towards the end, it actually quite grew on me, and I really liked the score.
I only noticed it at the end.
It's a very kind of like, again, like sense of wonder kind of.
I feel like we should have a Michael Giacchino alarm.
I could do.
Like the Giacchino klaxon.
But
that is one of the weirdest things I've ever had to say.
But generally, it looks good. There's a sense of there's genuinely imagination and creativity there.
Oh, definitely.
And, like, you don't know where it's going because it's not based. I know we said it was based on part of Disneyland, but it's not based on a pre-existing thing. And so there's a lot good about it. And then
it's very original.
Yeah, it is. And then just in the last 20 minutes, it just sort of it doesn't go bad. It just sort of goes.
Yeah. It just, and that's not necessarily a lot of critics.
Tachyons. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's like whenever people
science words.
Yeah, it's
Bazinga.
But tachyon is the science word.
Yeah.
Whenever you can't explain your science, everyone just goes tachyons. And like, oh well, tachyons. That's the one.
I feel like we need to point out because a lot of critics are slamming the end of this film because of the end reveal, what Tomorrowland's for, what Tomorrowland's about, etc. I actually thought that was quite clever.
It's what I assumed sort of from the beginning,
but a kind of a different way. It's difficult to talk about this without spoiling it. But when the kind of grand theme of the film is revealed, it's not nearly as tacky or as preachy as a lot of people have said.
I didn't think it is either.
The way they go about revealing it is quite complicated,
rushed as well,
and rushed and very kind of leaping and bounding, and someone suddenly going, "Oh, I have an idea. It's this, 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 and this."
And goes, it must be. It definitely is.
Yeah, let's just carry on with our lives and assume it is. It feels like it crushes too much into the last 20 minutes or so.
But because it's the end, it's kind of what I left on.
It doesn't really necessarily feel like a climax either.
No,
because it feels like they just kind of like bowl around a little bit, then suddenly go, "Oh shit! Look what we've done." There's no grand finale, which pissed me off a little bit, but. That might just be because there were some bigger, better action sequences earlier on. Yeah,
it does. It reaches its peak too early. But there's some good lines as well.
I think
stop being so amazed by everything or whatever it was.
The dialogue is very snappy.
Yeah,
it's above and beyond. It's an entertaining film.
Yeah,
and I feel like if I was like a 10-year-old, I would be in love with this film. I'm
just frustrated with it because I nearly loved it, and then
it had more potential than
But like when I think, because I did get that Super 8 vibe quite early on, I love Super 8.
It's not as good as Super 8.
Yeah, and I didn't love this.
Super 8 felt more textured.
I don't really know.
That's my new favourite word. It felt more kind of grounded and more knowing what it's doing. This felt a bit like washed over. It felt too kind of, where you always feel like they've used CGI to just touch everything up, and it feels too clean.
Okay.
And it feels too polished, and it doesn't look real enough. Super 8 felt a bit more gritty. and the fact that I can imagine it actually happening, even though it's a freaking alien. So
okay, yeah. Should we just strap up?
Go to scores. Do you want to give it a score?
I'll go first. I was, for ages, I was like, I'm really liking this, and then by the end, I kind of got brought down to a 7 out of 10, because, like we said, I like the cast, I like the characters as well. It's got a good script, although I imagine the good parts are probably not the Damon Lindelof parts. I know everyone's blaming him, but I do feel like that end part felt like him, and so I did sort of go, no, maybe it is his fault.
Surprised they didn't just all end up in purgatory.
Yeah, I like the look of it and everything. I like the score, just the end a bit.
I would say I'm gonna go with a 7 as well.
Yeah,
I think I have a different style to you in the fact that I never loved it and then liked it. The whole way through, I was wanting to love it.
Yeah,
I was wanting to give it that little bit extra. It just felt too clunky in places, and it felt like there were sequences that were really, really great. And then in between them, it just kind of was just like, okay, let's try and get to the next great sequence.
Yeah.
And at the end, they were like, quick, we need a really great end sequence, and they just didn't get there. Right, so we're both giving it 7 out of 10.
That was so 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
No, but it's good. It's
good.
It is really good. I think I just wanted to love it more than I did. By no means a bad film. And like I say, I reckon if I was 10 years old, I would have adored this film.
I think 10-year-old me would have got confused by the end.
Yeah. That has been the Real Opinions review of Tomorrowland, A World Beyond.